following is a special report from Los Angeles.
And let's take two.
Welcome back, Kings fans. You're watching the Royal Half Radio Postgame Show with your host, Jesse Cohen.
Now the Kings will take over here in overtime. Moving right to left, lead pass, onside a break, moving in a shot, score! Tyler Toffoli wins it in overtime. Got the lead pass behind the defense at the Vegas blue line. And for Tyler Toffoli, his first goal in 19 games is a huge one. An overtime game winner here in Vegas. Tyler Toffoli and the Kings win it 4-3.
Welcome back, Kings fans. I'm Jesse Cohen. This is the Royal Half Radio postgame show, and I just want to say, for what it's worth, I love that I open up the StreamYard page to do this, and there's a ton of comments already in the comment section. You guys are already there and waiting. I appreciate it. So the person who said, how am I more hyped for the postgame than the actual game? I appreciate that, Carl7487. I appreciate that a lot. Listen, I'm actually in a better mood personally than I was last night. So, they lost, and sure, of course they did. I mean, so what else would they do? By the way, for anybody watching at home, I'm wearing a fish tie. I'm very happy with that. I never get a chance to wear this tie. This is the closest thing I have to a holiday tie. So there you go. I'm wearing a fish tie. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they lost. It was more interesting than a total blowout. They were down 2-0, and then they were down 3-1, and okay, I don't know. Yes, listen, I'm not gonna say. Oops, wrong comment. I'm not gonna sugarcoat this. I'm not gonna say that there was anything defensible about this loss. I'm not gonna tell you that anything looked positive or looked up or whatever. Whatever. This happy Festivus. That's funny. Yes. By the way, I don't know if you can see, but there's a little Festivus logo in the corner there because today is Festivus. Crept up on me. Didn't realize. Yeah, I mean, they lost. Womp womp. It's all the same questions, all the same comments. Yeah, well, listen, Patrick O'Neill's paid to talk to everybody. He's not paid to talk to the people who are mad. He's got to put a brave face on everybody who works for the organization. And I can say that as somebody who used to work for the organization. Nobody internally wants you to come out and be like, well, that stunk, even if it did, which I think is insane. I think they should want you to come out and say it stunk, but they don't. But yeah, this game, there's nothing to say about this game that we haven't already said over the last week or two. Noah, I will get to you in just a second. I want to look at the time on ice because I was tracking this all game long. Yeah, time on ice, Sammy Helenius, 3 minutes and 3 seconds. Now, in Jim Hiller's defense, heavy on the air quotes defense, he said last night in the postgame press conference that, yeah, we're not going to be playing Sammy Helenius very much. He's got to eat it. We're basically going 11-6. So, okay, true to his word, they didn't play Sammy Helenius very much. I don't accept. I'm reading stuff that's getting my brain. I don't know why, but that's what we're doing. All right, Noah, what's going on, Noah? How are you doing tonight?
Hey Jesse, how are you doing?
I'm actually fine.
That's good. Yeah, better than last night.
Yeah.
Good to hear. Honestly, I'm numb to the losing. I don't even feel anything at this point.
Same.
But here's my one thing that I'm gonna get really angry if I say this too many times.
Yeah, all right.
When the Kings enter the zone and they make a pass to the boards and the passer follows the pass to almost meet up with the recipient, if that makes sense. And I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. I want to punch a hole. I don't know if that makes any sense, but I want to punch a hole in the wall.
Sure.
And that's pretty much it. Everything else I'm numb to. It's not even old anymore. It's just the normal these types of games. So what are you gonna do?
So there was a play. Sorry to cut you off, Noah. There was a play. I can't remember. Honestly, I genuinely can't remember if it was. I think it was this year at training camp. It must have been this year at training camp. Maybe it was last year at training camp. There's a play that they always do where the puck carrier crosses the blue line and pulls up and curls at the faceoff dot, or pulls up and does a spin and and they were practicing it in training camp, and they would do it so often in training camp, and I would be like, what kind of NHL EA Sports nonsense is this? This is what I would do when I was playing open lobbies at 2:00 in the morning, and
Yeah.
the rotation came through, and I got to be the guy, the puck carrier, and like, yeah, but on an NHL practice sheet, like, no. So I
Yeah,
feel you as far as like you see stuff that they just do repeatedly, and like yeah, I mean
they
this is
do it
not,
over and over
yeah.
again. It's just crazy. And then I think they pulled the goalie. I think they pulled Copper with, I think, 2 minutes left, and they didn't get possession in the offensive zone until there were 28 seconds left on the clock, which is
Didn't take a
just
penalty either, or a
which
timeout. Excuse me, didn't take a
yeah,
timeout.
which is just incredible stuff if you really start to think about it. So I don't know. I don't know where to go from here except, hopefully they get some good presents for Christmas and they come back actually wanting to win some hockey games. That's all I got. I don't know what else you can do with them right now.
I've reached a point where all I want is something different,
Yeah.
and limping along, winning, losing 3, winning 1, losing 2, winning 1 isn't different to me. Going on like an actual terrible streak might change something.
Yeah.
That would be
Yeah.
a lot more interesting than changing nothing and just kind of finishing in, third place in a weak division where everybody's terrible. Like, I was looking at the standings because somebody was saying like this Seattle team, whatever, whatever, blah blah. And I was like, well, where even are they in the standings? I'm gonna look it up. Obviously, they picked up 2 points tonight, so it's slightly different. But somebody was like, well, they're below the Sharks, and I was like, yeah, but the Sharks are like right on the Kings' heels, so that doesn't really mean anything
Mhm.
anymore. So according to my phone, the Kings have 39 points and Seattle has 36 points.
Yeah.
That was not a very good Seattle Kraken team. So this whole thing
No.
of like, well, it's close, and the Kings are very close to the top of it. It's like, okay, fine, but it doesn't mean anything to me. Like, if
No,
if
yeah.
if this is a game between fourth place in the division and sixth place in the division, and both teams suck, then okay, fine, we're close to the top of the division. That just means to me that everybody is equally bad. I'm not impressed by that at all.
Me neither. Yeah, they both suck. And Seattle was missing, I think, 3 or 4 guys who were difference makers for them tonight, just like Columbus was missing one of their guys last night too. So it makes no difference to me that these teams both respectfully suck. Respectfully suck. But I was gonna ask you, Jesse, real quick, and then I'll let you go. What
Yep.
did you make of the change when Jim Hiller said that Newell Brown no longer makes all the choices on the power play? Because here's my thing. Has Jim Hiller not been at all did it take till December 20th to be like, "Hey, Jimmy, maybe I should get involved in this a little bit," because if so, that is insane to me. And then 2, if Newell Brown is no longer in charge of the power play, why is he still here? Is
So
there an
I
explanation?
am no, there isn't, unfortunately. The reason I'm making all those faces and being coy is I am reluctant to talk about it too much. And I said on a recent episode, I don't remember how many games ago, I told people like I'm compromised. I know that it's fun, and I get on here and people have told me they appreciate me being honest and everything. I'm not. I am more honest than I was previously, but I'm still not giving you everything. I had a conversation with a couple of former coworkers of mine before the game tonight because I saw something in his answer about Newell Brown that I think you would have had to have worked here to see. And not only would you have to have been a Kings employee, but you also would have had to have been a Kings employee who spoke to multiple different people in multiple different departments and paid attention when you were talking to them and heard them say certain things so that you had the full, I'm going to use Hoven's favorite word here, so that you had the proper context,
Context? Yeah.
so that when you watch that, you go, oh my God, I just saw, like, it's like, so try to give you an example without tipping my hat about what I'm talking about fully. And apologies to everybody. I know everybody hates it when I'm vague, but too bad. When Robitaille gave his end of the year press conference last year and accidentally slipped and used the phrase, we were right there, and then immediately caught himself and went, I didn't say we were right there. I didn't say that. And then looked around and was like, I didn't say it. Did I say it? Did I say we were right there? Like, he didn't say we were right there. Somebody asked him, are you saying we were right there or whatever? And he was like, I didn't say that. Those weren't my words. And in that moment, you go, I see. PR clearly told him, don't say we were right there, because PR knows that if he says it, it'll be another year's worth of people making fun of him for saying it. And
Right.
so I'm just saying, like, you can, like, if you're around and you know what's going on, you can see. So when Jim Hiller answered that question about Newell Brown, there was a moment very similar to that where he caught himself and made a correction where I went, oh, well, that was actually far more interesting than the answer. Yeah, okay, Jim Hiller's in charge of the power play. That's probably been going on for a few games. I don't know. And to answer your question about what is Newell Brown, listen, I am never going to advocate for somebody losing their job because I am somebody who has lost their job and it sucks. So I'm not going to sit here and like actively root for somebody to lose their job. However, the LA Kings currently have 3 assistant coaches on staff, and Newell Brown is, at least, of course, as far as everybody in fandom is concerned, in charge of the power play. So if he's not in charge of the power play, it does seem like you could afford.
Correct. Yeah, that was my. And I wasn't saying
Yeah,
he should lose his job, but more so if you're not doing what you're hired to do, why?
right.
I
Then
mean,
what's the point? Yeah, no,
what's the point?
100%.
Yeah.
And it is even more conspicuous because Toronto did just fire an assistant coach.
Right.
So you
Right.
go, okay,
Like the day
whatever.
before. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so whatever arguments you might have about like, oh well, it's the holidays, it would be mean, blah 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 blah. It's like, all right, well, the seal has been broken. People are doing it, and yeah, it is weird. There's a lot of stuff going on that's just conspicuous. It's just weird.
Yeah.
Okay, Matthew Barry says I am rooting for Newell Brown to lose his job. Well, Matt, I'm a better person than you, so there you go.
That's harsh. That's harsh from
Yeah.
Matt right there.
Well, I mean, Matt likes being harsh, and that's fine. For what it's worth, if anybody doesn't know who Big Mouth Barry was, I will say this: credit to Big Mouth Barry. In the what was it, the late '90s? Matt, correct me if my memory is off. The Kings were a terrible, terrible team, and there was so much extra room at the Great Western Forum that Matt had tons of room to dance around during the game and was dancing boy. And there would be a song that would play, and everybody knew it was the Dancing Boy song, and Matt would get up and dance around, and he took up 2 or 3 rows, and it was highly entertaining. And Dancing Boy got us all through a bunch of tough games. So appreciation to Matt for everything he's done for the fan base, even if now he's just being mean.
There's about to be that much room in crypto too after the holidays are over. If they don't start,
there were some empty seats out there tonight. There's no question.
That's all I'm gonna say.
And listen, I mean, attendance it's low. It's down.
Yeah.
Yes, he is the Dancing Boy, Matt. All right, appreciate it. No,
All right.
thank you.
Happy holidays, everyone.
All right, thank you. Happy Festivus, more importantly. All right, sorry, I cut him off as he was saying Merry Christmas thing. All right, thank you. No, appreciate it. All right, Ethan has waited long enough. Ethan, what's going on?
another
Yeah,
loss, like
sure, yeah.
whatever, man.
Yeah.
I'm it's like just like how Noah said, I'm numb to it now. Was like, okay, let's do this. Let me just say the first thing first. I'll be a little positive. Kuzmenko's goal, awesome. Awesome. What a great goal. Like that's the Kuzmenko that we have been wanting this whole year, full of confidence, someone who's actually just driving to the net and then scored a banger wraparound. 2, I think that third period was I mean, they lost. They scored a goal, whatever. Fiala hit the crossbar, whatever. But I think that third period was the effort that I wish they had for all of 60 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
For me, the way maybe it's different in person, but on TV, it looked like I know there was a lot of really stupid things, but I think
well,
I don't even know how to say it.
So Ethan, I'm going to hold you on here while I pull up my screen. I'm going to share my screen because we're going to look at the game flow, and you look at this and you go, oh wow, okay, so it basically was all Kings all game long, especially in that third period, right?
Yeah.
But
It
I'm going
felt
to
like
scroll
it too.
down. Sure, but I'm going to scroll down and show you the heat map, which shows you where all those shots were coming from. And as you'll notice, not that many of them were coming from the front of the net.
No.
Both Kings goals scored. I don't know if everybody can see my cursor circling the net there, but like both Kings goals scored from right around the net. But look at all of these colorful spots. That's a lot of perimeter shots. That's a lot of shots coming from everywhere. Now, to their credit, they kept Seattle the same, but like, yeah, that's where you go, oh, okay, yes, the Kings controlled the third period. They had more shot attempts than blah 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 blah. But like, other than 2 individual efforts, I didn't see. Actually, I shouldn't even say that. There were a number of stretches where I felt like the Kings controlled play deep in Seattle's zone.
They did.
Way more than I've seen at any point in time in the season. And
that's what I mean by that effort is what I mean from this season so far. I think that was one of the best third periods we've had, and that felt like what the Kings were that latter half of last season to me. That's what it felt like. They were really gritty. They were really grimy. They were really like they got pissed off after that second period. At least that's what it felt like to me. And
Yeah.
you know, whatever, effort is effort, but like if there's no results, then what does it even mean right?
Well, so one of the things that used to drive me crazy when Kovalchuk was here was that people would talk about effort. And I know I've told this story before, but I don't care. I'm telling it again. People would say, "Oh, Kovalchuk tries hard. Look
Yeah.
at his Instagram account. He's lugging that, tire up on that chain through, the street. And I see him at practice every day, and he's working so hard. And he's hard working, hard working, hard working." But the flip side of that coin is if you're talking to anybody who's in this industry, coach, skills coach, analytics person, broadcaster, whatever, anybody who works in the industry in any of the multiple tiers, and you talk to them about whether or not it's worthwhile to work hard if you're doing the wrong thing, and I've had this happen dozens of times, I'll start the sentence and the person will say, "Yeah, you're just the first person to the wrong spot on the ice." Like
Hmm.
that's all hard work gets you if you're not working at the right thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
you'll be the first guy to the wrong spot on the ice.
Yeah.
So effort is fine and
Yeah.
it's important, and I would rather have somebody who works hard and sucks than somebody who's talented and doesn't work hard. But I'd still rather have somebody who works hard and actually knows what they're doing or is
Yeah.
at least
I
doing
I
what they're
get what you're
told to
saying.
do. Like it's so yeah, they try. I mean, like, and I got mad at this last night because Jim Hiller on the post game was like, "Well, they tried. The effort was there. They tried hard." And I get to play my new video that I loaded. And my response to that, as it frequently is,
Oh, I see. Oh, it was no one's fault. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Well then, problem solved.
like, yeah, okay, fine. They all worked hard. Okay, great. Well, I guess it's nobody's fault then. Like, no, I don't like. Good. They should be working hard. They haven't won what do they have? 4 wins at home. They haven't scored more than 2 goals in a game, and yeah, they should be
I
working
think I saw that it's been 2 goals. I think no more than 2 goals in the past like 7 games or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's terrible. It sucks.
Yeah.
It sucks. That's all it is. But I think other than that third period, there's nothing else to say about this team. I don't know what else is going to happen after this. I know we suck in like December, January, and then after something happens, but it just doesn't feel that way at all this season at all. And especially just at home, they can't string anything together at all. It
There
just
were a
sucks,
few
man.
moments. There were a few moments in the. So Jim Hiller did a media availability at
I saw that.
5:45 tonight
Yeah,
before the game. Did you watch it?
I did. I did.
Did you happen to hear John Hoven's question about what the most frustrating part of coaching this team was?
Yeah, and he was like, I wouldn't call it frustrating.
Did you hear the question? Did you hear the question I asked 2 questions later?
Yes.
Go ahead and tell the folks what I asked.
I mean, it's like what everyone has been asking, and he's still. It's just like everything is just this whole organization dodges the question.
So yeah, I mean, for those who didn't watch, John Hoven asked Jim Hiller, "What's the most frustrating thing about coaching this team right now?" And like Ethan just said, Jim Hiller said, "I wouldn't use the word frustrating." And then somebody asked another question, totally
Yeah,
unrelated. Remember, and then I raised my hand and said, "Well, you said you wouldn't use the word frustrating, but surely you must be aware that like everybody else is frustrated,
yeah,
like the media, the fans, the broadcaster. Like it's you can't." So at this point, they know, like they know,
they know.
they have
No, they have to. They
they have
feel it
to know.
now, especially since the questions that you guys have been asking, which thank you for asking. That but it's like. And then, like, what's the reluctancy of playing their fourth line and Hellenius, who's like a heavy hitter? I know, like, we talked
So
about it last
so
night.
so that's where
Like,
I was actually going. So yeah.
yeah,
So did you hear Carlin's question about hitting?
uh, I don't remember.
So I don't know if it made because sometimes they cut off the pregame or whatever. So Carlin
Yeah,
asked them. She had some great stats, and I don't remember off the top of my head, but she was like, at this point through 35 games last year, the team had 700 and something hits, and they were wherever they were in the standings as far as hits.
hmm,
This season they have 600 and something hits, and they're like, if not dead last, very low in the bottom.
it feels
You
like
know,
it.
and her question was essentially, what's up with that? Like,
Yeah,
don't you think you should hit more? And the answer was essentially more of like it's nobody's fault.
Yeah, it's nobody's fault. It's
It's
just dodging the question.
yeah,
Everybody dodges
but
everything here,
it
and
was a
it's
good
so
question.
frustrating. Yeah, it was a good
It was
question.
a good question.
It's just
But so
frustrating.
yeah,
But like, what is the reluctancy? Like, Kevin Holland brings in these heavy guys. They bring in CC and Dumoulin. Okay, they bring in these heavy defensemen. They want a heavier
big,
team,
big
big.
defense.
I
I
guess
don't know
big.
about
You know,
heavy. Heavy
yeah. Well,
implies
Dumoulin's pretty. Like Dumoulin's a big guy. CC's a
no.
big guy.
They're
You know.
both big.
Yeah.
But unless you're talking about heavy specifically as in how many pounds they weigh, then heavy to me implies they play a heavy game. And so far, I haven't seen Dumoulin definitely doesn't play a heavy game, and
No.
I assume
Yeah, I get
CC
what you're saying.
would, but like I haven't seen CC do anything particularly physical. He's just tall.
That's what I mean. Where
Yeah,
is the physicality of everything? Like, where is this physicality that happened to this
I don't
last
know.
year that they said that it was gonna be like, oh, you know what,
Well,
we're gonna bring in these big guys, but there's nothing left now.
so I don't know if you remember or not, and I am patting myself on the back a little hard here, but 2 years ago, when Rob Blake had that press conference where he said, you know, the team needs to get uncomfortable,
Yeah, I remember this.
and then that summer they parted ways with Blake Lizotte, Matt Roy, Victor Arvidsson, and there was a fourth player. I don't remember who it was, but I remember saying on All the King's Men and perhaps other platforms that even though I get it, Arvidsson and Lizotte were small. Matt Roy was hardly a bruiser. But the one thing that those three guys did was compete. And so whether or not, you know, Tanner Jeannot will fight more than, Victor Arvidsson would or Blake Lizotte would, I would still rather have 12 Blake Lizottes than 12 Tanner Jeannots.
Yeah, well, because Lizotte was like this. Like a pest. He is a pest, and in a good way because his engine would never stop. And then when
Yeah,
he came earlier this year, I went to go see the Penguins and Kings play earlier this year, or no, well,
yeah.
whatever. He came in
And
earlier this year,
Lizotte
and I was like,
looked great.
he
Yeah,
looked amazing. And I was
yeah,
like, yeah. That's what he would do on the Kings' third, fourth line when we needed just some energy. And I was like, Lizzo was one of my favorite guys just because of like his engine. He just would never stop, always fighting for pucks, always battling. And then we don't. Fogel's supposed to be that guy. Oh, I got to give my flowers to Turcotte. I think Turcotte's playing amazing.
yeah.
I think he's doing really undervalued stuff right now.
Still not getting any power or penalty
He's
kill
still.
time, but yeah.
I get it. I get it. I mean, I get it. But that's the thing. What this team, they just want to play their top six guys. That's it. That's it. What is again? What is the reluctancy of playing their third and fourth line? What is
I,
it?
Listen.
What is the reluctancy? It's
I'm gonna pour
so
gas.
frustrating.
I'm gonna pour gas on the fire here, Ethan. Of the players who played today, the two players who played the least, Sammy Hellenius, 3 minutes 3 seconds. Alex Turcotte, 12 minutes 11 seconds. Now, 12 minutes 11 seconds is more than 3 minutes. I'll grant you, but those two guys combined to go 9 for 12 in the faceoff dot.
Wow.
Meanwhile, UL Armio 1 for 2, Corey Perry 1 for 2, Quentin Byfield 8 for 24.
Yeah, the
Um,
Byfield is another thing that I think. Yeah, I think we've all been saying it. We're like, well, give him time, give him time, give him time. I think time is up, man. I think time is up. I think this is the time where he has to really step up his game. We've been saying it for the past year, 2 years. We're like, just give him
well,
some time. But
this is why I think I was getting mad about this last night, and I apologize. I lose track of when I get mad about stuff. This is why I said I think it must have been last night because I was listening to it again this morning. When the organization says we need to evaluate, and I say evaluate what? Everybody
yeah,
who's a fan of this team knows what's happening. They don't have any centers who can. They have one center who can win a faceoff, and
and
he's
he's gone.
retiring at the end of the year.
He's gone.
So
Yeah,
what are we evaluating? Like you just traded the other guy because you felt like he wasn't good enough to play it, but like I don't know, whatever. Anyway,
whatever. It doesn't matter. He's
yeah.
gone. This
All right. Now
team
I was
feels
fine. I
like
wasn't
slump.
mad
So
about this loss, but now I am. But there's a bunch of
sorry,
kids out on
Jesse.
the ice.
I had to get that firiness out of you
Yeah.
because last night
Well,
you were cussing everywhere. So I needed to bring that back.
yesterday was not a great day for me. Although I got a lot of compliments about it today walking around in the concourse. A lot of people walking up to me saying how much they appreciated it and how funny they thought it was.
Very
But
much so, Jesse. Appreciate you, man.
Here's all right. So Mike wants all right. So here's the point I made in the Discord earlier about my unpopular take. Thank you, Ethan. By the way, I appreciate you. You might all right. Sorry, I cut Ethan off there. So this was my unpopular take. If you want to know why Quentin Byfield is struggling offensively, and you want to know why Phil Deneau struggled in the first half last year, I'd have to go back and look at how many points Phil Deneau had in the second half versus the first half, because I know he had more points in the second half than the first half. And Caius, I saw it on TV, but I didn't get to listen to it because I was in the press box. I saw that it happened, and I saw Alfie at practice the other day. But the answer is that Kevin Fiala starts out slowly. Like, for all the knocks on different, no, it's not a Royal Half Discord. It's an LA Kings Discord. Mike hooked them up with a link in the comment section. But Kevin Fiala for 3 years in a row now, and I mentioned this all off season long on all the Kingsmen on whatever platform I could. Kevin Fiala has a tendency to start slow, and not just start slow, but be really, really bad for the first half of a season, and it has caused chaos on the Kings lines for years in a row. And it happened last year. In 2 years ago, Fiala ended the season with Deneau and Moore, and that line was great. And then the next season started, and it was like, oh, Deneau, Moore, and Fiala will be a dynamite line. And then they were not, and it was really, really bad. And then about halfway through, they put Fiala with Byfield and LaFerriere, and Zach and I started referring to Byfield as the Fiala whisperer because Fiala had been playing poorly, and suddenly he started playing well, and the three of them started gelling. And then this season, I said at the beginning of the season, if for whatever reason Kuzmenko doesn't re-gel with Kopitar and Kempe, and Fiala doesn't recapture his chemistry with Byfield and LaFerriere like he didn't with Deneau and Moore, and like he didn't the season prior, then we're in a situation where we're going to have to start jumbling lines, and we're going to have to start desperately seeking for new chemistry. And lo and behold, that's exactly what happened. So that's my unpopular take that I put in the Discord, and it, whatever, you can agree with me or disagree with me, I don't care. Holden said he's been that way his entire career. Okay, I didn't know that, but I believe you. All right, I'm trying to see if Mike put a link somewhere that I can put on the screen, but I don't see it. So Mike, I don't know, do it again and maybe I'll find it. But yeah, the Kings Discord is very funny. There's some good people in there. I'm in there ranting and raving and being a lunatic far often than I should be. Although it's always funny, you can see when the game's on because I'm less active. Whereas if it's like 2 or 3 in the morning and I'm in a bad mood, the Discord will frequently be just full of me pontificating about all sorts of random nonsense that nobody cares about. Oh my God, the Pluribus finale, is that tonight? Oh my God. Oh, I thought it was tomorrow. Oh man, I want to watch that. So yeah, I see a lot of people saying they want to get into the Kings Discord. And to be fair, it is the official LA Kings Discord server. There are 2 of them. There's the unofficial one and the official one. The one we're talking about is the official one, although I'm active in both. Like those with Reddit. Yes, I think every time you post something in Reddit, it says go join. No, that's the unofficial one. Sorry, I'm getting my Reddit Discords confused, but whatever. So just go to Discord, search. Also, to be clear, Discord's a terrible people on it, and I like talking about the LA Kings too much, so whatever. That's the kind of LA Kings energy I need in my life. I feel less alone to know I'm not the only one. Watch molding. I don't know what it's a typo clearly, but yeah. All right. We're gonna move on to some stuff because at some point I want to go home and I want to talk about stuff besides this dumb game. We really just need. So listen, I appreciate that, but I want to tell you, I had a phone call on the way into the game tonight. There's somebody that I hadn't spoken to in a very long time, who was checking in with me because they actually hadn't heard anything that I had been going through over the last year, and so they were just checking in, and I was telling them the whole story, and they were like, "Man, it really sounds like you handled things the right way," and that made me feel good. So I'm actually feeling pretty full of myself tonight. I actually do feel really good, and so I'm fine. I needed a day to sulk and to pout. I took it, and this morning I thought for half a second, do I even want to come to the game tonight? And I thought, you know what? I'm not giving the universe the satisfaction I'm getting in the shower, I'm putting my clothes on, I'm stepping out the door. I struggle with depression, so the way to beat it is to just do it. So here I am. I'm not giving up. I'm not going anywhere. So I'm fine. Anyway, the point is that this was a Molson Index game because, of course, Brian Dumoulin used to play for the Seattle Kraken, and I don't like their jerseys, but that's neither here nor there. Also, we have really good questions, so it's time to ask a really good question.
That's a really good question.
And this is the really good question. What is most disappointing about this season? Now, he goes on to ask to give his opinion, but I just really liked the question. I'll leave it up there so you can all read. He says, what's most disappointing to this person who wrote it down the Hobbit hole, which I thought was, or Hobbit's hole, which I thought was a funny name on Reddit, is how the organization and team is treating Kopitar's retirement, but not for Kopitar and not for his teammates, but for the fans. At the beginning of the season, I think most of us felt pretty bad about the moves made in the offseason and outright pissed about how last season ended. But the silver lining felt like we'd have some momentum out of what could be a legacy season. When we send off our veteran and the new guys step up, that hasn't happened, and it sucks for Kings fans, but it does the greatest disservice to the Kings organization as a whole. An NHL legend should bring new faces to the stands and present itself as an opportunity to create more Kings fans, or at least hockey fans. This team does the opposite. Boring play and losing won't help grow the fan base and get kids excited about hockey. It's just so uninspired. That, coupled with the organization's new corporate social media, that's a whole other conversation. Why do we have lifestyle? But okay, just shows that the whole organization has its head and heart in the wrong place. I can see why Deneau wanted out. I'll be a Kings fan forever, but right now the feeling is sour. Why should I care if they don't? Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. That's a pretty, that's a passionate take. But I thought it was an interesting question, so I'll just ask you guys, what's the most disappointing part of the season for you? So for me, the most disappointing thing about this season was kind of how predictable it was. Every season I do the top 10 questions, and this season I was hinting at a lot of stuff in the questions, like, what if this happens? What if that happens? What's going to happen at this, that, the other thing? And it all happened. And everybody's favorite West Coast hockey bias, biggest disappointment is the power play. Sure, the power play, but I mean, the power play is so bad, it's almost because it's so bad, it's something to talk about. And so you go like, okay, wow, the net power play at home before tonight, I don't know what it is tonight, but the net power play at home was 1.9%. Like, 1.9%. That's bad. Not really disappointed, kind of saw it coming. Okay, well, that to me is the part that's disappointing. Like when you sit there and you go, oh man, look out, the bus is going to hit you, and everybody goes, no, shut up, there's no bus, it's not going to hit me, I got plenty of time. And then you take one step in the street and the bus hits you. That to me is disappointment. You go like, well, I told you, what, you didn't look, the bus. So whatever. People are saying bounces didn't go our way, and bounces didn't go our way, unfortunately. Gives me an opportunity to once again.
Oh, I see. Oh, it was no one's fault. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Well then, problem solved.
So that's my favorite new thing in the world, and I'm never going to stop doing it. And I won't even remotely apologize for it. I love that clip, and I'm just going to keep. If anybody so much as gives me half an excuse to use that, no, there's no such thing as overusing it. It's perfect. I will use it. Sorry, people can't see the comments. I'll put the comments back in the thing. There's no such thing as overusing it. I will use it to my heart's delight. I do it solely for my own entertainment. If you guys happen to find it amusing, all the better. It amuses me every single time. Back to what people find most disappointing. Bounces didn't go. No purple jersey. That is disappointing to some people. That one really, I'm going to contradict myself here. I knew there wasn't going to be a purple jersey, so I'm not disappointed. Hiller keeping his job after throwing last year is probably going to see some of those. Biggest disappointment is Byfield. That's fair. This is a good one. Biggest disappointment is the Ducks surging compared to our struggles. Not just the Ducks, but the Sharks. The Sharks haven't passed the Kings yet, but it's all of a sudden it's a lot closer than it was 6 months ago, right? People in the offseason were like, oh, the Ducks and the Sharks, not going to be any easy wins in the Pacific Division this year. And I was like, oh, shut up. They're still going to be terrible. Well, the Ducks are better than the Kings, and the Sharks are 2 points back. So, I guess I had that one wrong. One non-hockey thing I've been disappointed in: the promotional giveaways have been terrible. I don't know what to tell you about that. That's the unwillingness to make a real culture change. Well, that's a funny one, Neil, because culture, I've said this time and time again, culture gets talked about as if it's like you don't change culture the way you change a light bulb. You don't go, oh, look, the culture's out. Time to go get a new culture. And then, unscrew the culture and screw a new culture in. Culture is built day by day by day. Repetition of attention to details, doing the right thing. Like culture is built over time. It's the same thing, I always say, like the problem with consistency is you can't just show up tomorrow and be like, well, we're consistent now, everybody. Like, no, in order to erase concerns about inconsistency, you have to be consistent, and consistency requires time. It's the same thing with culture. You can't just show up and fix it. Yes, I am also a big fan of that Rick and Morty episode. That is why I love that clip. Well, part of it. Also, it's just a perfect clip. Remember when we were so excited when the Kings power play was so good and we got the Oilers in the first round? I thought we were going to. Yes, sadly I do. Ryan says, play it again. I will play it again, since you asked.
Oh, I see. Oh, it was no one's fault. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Well then, problem solved.
I'm gonna keep doing it. I don't care. I love that clip. This team is certainly inconsistent or consistent. Yes. Well, okay. Funny, Neil. Yes, this team is consistently disappointing, boring, whatever. That's all right. What's going on, fellas? Oh, all right. Yeah. All right. Nice. Oh, is your kid down there? Sorry, I shouldn't be having a conversation in the middle of this, but whatever. Kings are set up for a terrible decade. No future franchise players, and our biggest rivals are completing successful rebuilds. The nice thing about doing an actual build, and I'm not even going to use the word rebuild because I hate it. The nice thing about doing an actual build is that it doesn't take that long. If done correctly, it should take between 4 to 6 years. And during those 4 to 6 years, there should be things to talk about, and it should be entertaining. And so, yeah, I'm not even worried about that. Jack Stride, I see your comment. I'm not going to highlight it, but I see it. I just want you to know. You guys are going to make me drive this thing into the ground, but somebody asked for it. The culture is nobody.
I see. Oh, it was no one's fault. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Well then, problem solved.
Yeah, I'm going to keep doing it. If you asked me to, I'm going to keep doing it. Pluribus is a lot like the Kings, boring and disappointing. So funny enough, you should mention that, and I'm going to try not to give away any spoilers, although I'm getting pretty tired of talking about Pluribus and not doing spoilers. One of the things I find fascinating about the discourse around Pluribus is the discussion of whether or not, or where we put the threshold at unpleasantness or negativity or whatever. And the tagline of the show involves, what if the most miserable person had to save the world from happiness, I think is the tagline. And maybe I'm a miserable person, but I watch the show and I go, that person's not that miserable. I got to tell you, like, all things considered, for what happens in the show, for anybody who's watched it, I'm like, I kind of sympathize. I get it. Like, that's the correct read in my book. And so when I see people say like, "Oh, don't be negative about the team" or whatever, I'm like, no, it's every when it's everybody, and I know I always say when everybody's agrees, it's usually not correct. But this is one of those situations where it's 99% of people, but there is fortunately that 1% sliver of people who are like, "No, it's fine. Like, what are you talking about? It's fine." And that's, to me, that's how you know something is really right. When it's 99.9%, but there is the one holdout, the one or the cluster of holdouts, that's when you go, okay, this is right. When it's actually 100% everybody agrees, that's when it's wrong. That doesn't make any sense. I get it. But all right. Hey, Jesse, I've worked for a local LA TV station for 31 years. When sports segments get heavy, King stories or even highlights always got cut. The front office gets no heat from the press. Listen, I will talk about this forever. Yeah, there is no coverage. Not only is there no coverage of hockey in LA, but for decades, and I'm sorry to the kids who don't know what I'm talking about, I'm going to put on my old man hat. For those of you who remember, page 2 of the LA Times used to be a columnist named TJ Simer, who would openly mock and ridicule hockey. And when I was 15 or 16, it was funny. He made fun of his wife. It was very like boomer humor coded, for those of you who are chronically online. And it was like, oh gosh, my wife can't cook dinner and hockey and soccer are boring and we should all love football and baseball. And I was like, oh, okay, whatever. It was pretty like, it wasn't nearly as funny as he thought it was. But whatever, it was the time and it was fine. But the point is, like, for decades, the opinion of hockey in local media was negative. And I can remember I was I must have been in junior high or high school. Luke Robitaille went on the Arsenio Hall show, for those of you who remember Arsenio Hall and late night talk shows that mattered. And Luke Robitaille went on the Arsenio Hall show, and they did a bit where they were talking to Luke Robitaille as if he was a fighter, and they had him like show how to fight. And I remember thinking in that moment, oh, this is why nobody cares about hockey, because this is Luke Robitaille, who's been in what, one fight in his career, two fights, maybe, but like highest scoring left winger in history, arguably one of the best players in franchise history because he was still an active player at the time, going on a late night talk show to talk to an audience that traditionally did not like hockey. And their approach was, hey, fighting, right? And I was like, no, 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 not fighting. Um, and also, for those of you who know Petros and Money, Matt Money Smith and Petros, they do a sports talk radio show. And I remember talking to Matt Money Smith a few years ago. And he told me that when they would do hockey segments on their show, the phones would light up with callers because people would call in and tell them to stop talking about hockey. Like, that's what we're up against. And I don't think people really appreciate it. If you go to the LA Times website, I don't know if this is true today, but it was true the last time I went. There would be like, Lakers, Clippers, Dodgers, Angels, blah, 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 and then other sports, which would bring you a drop down menu. And instead of Ducks and Kings, it would say hockey. Like, the LA Times doesn't even have a dedicated menu on its website for the Kings. It's hockey. The reason I highlighted this thing, Plaschke was pretty bad with hockey too, in the rare instance he wrote about it, was because, and I hold grudges, everybody, in case you weren't aware. In 2001, the LA Kings traded Rob Blake to the Colorado Avalanche after a prolonged contract dispute. And Bill Plaschke wrote an article absolutely lambasting the organization and basically saying, like, the Kings are a loser organization. They always have been. They always will be. And this is a perfect example why. And blah, 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 boo-hoo, I'm Bill Plaschke, and I don't like the LA Kings. And then, like, a couple of weeks later, I remember watching him on Around the Horn, and he just said, yeah, I've never been to a hockey game in my life. And I was like, well, I beg your finest pardon, Bill Plaschke. You wrote this scathing article in the LA Times about how the LA Kings are a joke organization because they traded their captain, yet you've never been to a game? F all the way off. So ever since then, I've not had any particular interest in anything Bill Plaschke has to say about anything, although I concede that he is probably very good at his job because he keeps winning awards. Sorry, getting way off course, going back to the comments. By the way, if you want to join me, you can scan the QR code or you can text. Oh, I took away the banner. 323-628-1008 to text in comments, and I will read them. We're not doing phone calls here. Hockey will be a third fiddle to those two teams. Yeah, it will. I mean, that's life. And I was saying to somebody the other day, I believe that your average devoted Kings fan is a better is such a harsh word. I believe that the average LA Kings fan understands the Kings, the game, their place in the hockey world, the team, better than the average East Coast fan. Your average Rangers fan, Leafs fan, Habs fan, Flyers fan, Bruins fan, Islanders fan, they don't have to work hard to get their LA Kings information, so they don't treat it as such. It's just whatever. It's just omnipresent, so who cares? But there's more of them, and that's just what it is. Like, yeah, Kings fans are passionate. You guys, listen, there's almost 1,000 of you again in here listening to me ramble 43 minutes after a dumb, boring loss to a bad team. So I get it. Like, Kings fans are devoted, but there's just less of us, and fewer of us, less of us, whatever. I don't even care. And listen, I used to be a season ticket member, and getting rid of tickets in the 90s was tough. I told a corny joke to Hovind earlier today not about the Kings. I filled in with something else. But my favorite joke in the 90s was, yeah, I won 2 tickets to the Kings game. I went to 7-Eleven. I parked. I put the tickets on the dash. And when I came back, somebody had broken in and left 2 more tickets. That used to be, I thought that was like the greatest joke ever. Oilers fans, same thing with Canadian teams, Sean. Any market where the sport is omnipresent. Like, I don't think, for example, that your average Lakers fan has any particular knowledge of basketball better than any other market because it, everything everywhere is all Lakers all the time. Like, you don't even have to live in LA to be flooded with Lakers takes. So whatever. All right, going back to the comments. Sorry, this is totally rant. Petros and Money, both from K Rock. I know that Matt Money Smith was Petros a K Rock guy? And somebody mentioned Kevin Ryder earlier. And listen, Kevin, I am very fortunate to consider Kevin Ryder a friend. I was texting with him all summer when I was going through my health stuff. Like, I love. Oh, there it is, right there. Found the comment. I love Kevin Ryder. Kevin and Bean was part of my childhood, and the fact that I get to have Kevin talk to me, and I get to be the host and he gets to be the guest is one of the absolute thrills of my adult life. But yeah, I mean, there just aren't that many Kings fans. TJ Simers, what a hack. Plashke, blah, 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 blah. Alex Simmons bongo fight. I don't get that reference. I may not be old enough. LA media has always been condescending towards hockey. It's a freaking clown show listening to various LA personalities not be able to talk about the game. Yeah. And I am of the opinion, personally, and maybe I'm wrong about this, that when you have stuff like the Mighty Ducks movies, for example, or Young Blood, or I thought Miracle was great. I really like the Goon movies, but the Mighty Ducks movies, Young Blood. Somebody help me out. What are some other hockey movies or hockey TV shows? The point is that, like, when yes, the Sacramento Kings logo, or Brad Doty, or Andre Kobador, we all know. Shoresy's not the NHL, but like, the point is, when you're a kid and you watch the Mighty Ducks movies, heated rivalry, very funny, Jenna. Sudden death does count, actually, Dan. That's perfect. And Mystery Alaska, that's the one. That's the one I was thinking about. Mystery Alaska. So Mystery Alaska ends in a way that no hockey game ends. Thank you very much, and drive safe. And same with the Mighty Ducks movies. If you are watching the Mighty Ducks or Mystery Alaska or whatever, and then you go to a hockey game and you realize there is no flying V, there is no knuckle puck, there are no championship games that end in a shootout where the star player gets a spotlight put on him and he gets to do a triple deke. Like, hockey is not, yes, Mystery Alaska starring Jim Fox. Hockey's not cinematic. That's what I loved about Miracle, is that it was actually what happened, right? It wasn't dramatic. Now, one of the, listen, I would say Sudden Death is not a hockey. I mean, it's a hockey movie, but the point of the movie is that Jean-Claude Van Damme has to stop a terrorist from blowing up a building, and hockey happens to be the cracker upon which the action movie is served. But so anyway, the point is, like, when people talk about hockey in a certain way, and then what they talk about isn't met, the expectation is established and then not met. I think that's dangerous. I think when you set people up to, oh, this is what hockey is. That's why I didn't really love all the fighting at these four nations. People said, oh, I'm going to tune in and, like, it's going to be great because I watched Canada versus USA and there were 3 fights in the first 9 seconds. And oh my God, you can fight in hockey? This is incredible. What a wonderful sport. Okay, yes, fine. But then what if the first game they turned on after the Four Nations tournament was a random game in February between the Predators and the Columbus Blue Jackets, and not only was there no fights, the game stunk. Well, guess what? That's the last hockey game they're going to watch, because they got sold this big dramatic promise, and then there was no delivery. And listen, I worked at Nordstrom when I was a kid, and one of the things they always told us, I was in my 20s, one of the things they always told us was under promise, over deliver. I almost said it backwards. And I believe that, and I will always believe it. You should always under promise, over deliver, rather than over promise and under deliver. That is the quickest way to turn people off. What's all in context? I'm sorry, I've lost track of the comment section. I'm ranting and raving. Jim Hill has afforded his place as a longtime stalwart of LA sports media. However, he is not steeped in much hockey know-how. Listen, far be it from me to criticize Jim Hill. He's an institution in the market. But yeah, Jim Hill, not a hockey fan. Like, he'll tell you he is. I've had multiple conversations with him that go the exact same way every single time. But, like, not, whatever. Oh, Oh, whose fault is it that we lost the context?
Oh, I see. Oh, it was no one's fault. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Well then, problem solved.
Yeah, well done, Gio. Nice way to set me up to use that clip again. I appreciate it. But yeah, now I've totally lost track because I just wanted to use that clip. The best way to introduce newcomers to hockey is during the playoffs. I mean, yes, I suppose. I just think like hockey is unlike other sports in that there are parts of the world that where it is cultural. Like if you grow up in Southern California or Texas or Florida or Nashville or St. Louis or even Seattle or Washington D.C., like you didn't know about hockey. Like the reason I knew about hockey is because my dad's Canadian and I was born in Canada. We moved here when I was 3, and my dad already cared about hockey. If it weren't for that, I wouldn't have been a hockey fan, and this show wouldn't exist. So like, this I say this repeatedly in Southern California, hockey is an alternative lifestyle, and you have to treat it that way. It's not baseball, it's not basketball, it's not soccer, it's not tennis, it's not golf, it's not NASCAR, it's not F1, it's not running out of sports. But you get my drift. Like people who care about hockey in Southern California care about it in a way that other people don't care about other things. Somebody asked me once at a party, I was introduced to some people and they asked me what I do, and somebody's, oh, I work for the LA Kings, blah, 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 blah. This is a few years ago. And they said, oh, you must love hockey. And I was like, honestly, I don't even know if I do anymore. I just can't not think about it. I know I'm double negativing there, but like when I wake up, I think about hockey. When I go to sleep, I think about hockey. When I get my blood test at the oncologist, I think about the plus minus stat. That's just how I am. You know, I was talking to somebody before the game and I said, you know, last night that play that found was like knew exactly what I was talking about, knew exactly what play. People remember that like it's a tightly knit community of people. We're all into the same thing. It's not common. It's not easy to get information. And so we're bonded by that. It's a community in a way that I just don't think other sports in Southern California or hockey is in other markets. Anyway, whatever. Nobody asked. You never want to be the Clippers of anything, and Luke and his Mary Benavides have brought the team back down to that level in less than a decade. I'm not sure that they ever really weren't. Trapped in the Discord now. Oh no, Carl, welcome to it. It is David Cross for the person who wants to know. Hockey is niche. It's niche in some places. In other places, it's the opposite of niche. In Toronto, it's I mean, I don't know. I don't think anybody should have to read a book to know what I'm talking about, but we did a book club once upon a time for all the King's Men, and we read Ken Dryden's book. And Ken Dryden talked about, when he was in Montreal, you would wake up and you would feel the fan reaction in the air to whatever the game was last night. I talk to people who legitimately don't know that LA has a hockey team. And I don't know how much of this story I should share, but I'm gonna anyway. Within the last calendar year, when I still worked for the LA Kings, I had conversations with with former employees, former coworkers of mine, who until they got hired by the team didn't know that LA had a hockey team. Like that's what we're talking about. Like this is this, and people always I get in fights with people about all this all the time. They're like, "Oh, you're making it up." I'm not making it up. There are very few people I think who engage Kings fans on as many platforms as I do. I go to Reddit, I go to Twitter, I go to Facebook, I go to the Discord. I'm talking to people on the concourses. I'm at the fans. I do this show. Like I talk to Kings fans, and when I'm out and about in the world, I talk to people about when I was having my port put in, for anybody who doesn't know, I've got a little device inserted into my chest where I get medicine dumped into me. The nurse who was helping cut me open to put the port in my body was very excited to discover that I worked for the Kings at the time. And she was like, oh, and wanted to talk to me about the team, which I was perfectly happy to do. But it became very clear very quickly that she had not paid attention to the team within the last 5 to 6 years and was asking me, like, who's the nicest guy on the team? And I was like, well, this person is the nicest person on the team. She was like, I don't know who that is. And I was like, well, who do you know? And she knew Andre Kopitar, Drew Doughty, Jonathan Quick, Dustin Brown. And I was like, okay, well, so that's so anyway, I don't know. I'm ranting and raving. It doesn't matter. The Kings lost, everybody. I don't know if you knew that. When I won a contest and AEG took me to Seattle earlier this year, I was shocked how many AEG employees didn't care about the Kings. Well, I don't know what you mean by didn't care, but yeah. Listen, AEG is a multi-continental billion-dollar industry with tons of tendrils in everything. They sell tickets, they manage buildings, they do concerts, they operate music festivals. Like, yeah, owning the Kings. Ironically, owning the Kings was the first brick in the tower that became AEG, which is Anschutz Entertainment Group. But AEG outpaced the Kings very quickly. And Phil Anschutz purchased the Kings out of bankruptcy in 1996, I want to say. And yeah, I mean, it was essentially to start building real estate in downtown LA. And now I can't remember how much real estate Anschutz actually controls, but it's like a lot. Anyway, whatever. That's neither here nor there. Hockey's everywhere. It's all around us. Even now in this very room, you can see it when you look out your window or when you turn on your television. You can feel it when you go to work. Is that from Ken Dryden's book, Neil, or is that replacing the word hockey for something else? Because it feels like that might be. Feels like that's from Love Actually. Feels like you're replacing the word Christmas for hockey. I feel like that's the intro to Love Actually. Christmas is everywhere. It's all around us. Or no, Love. It is Love Actually at Christmas time. But Love is everywhere. It's all around us. Even now. I think that's what that is. Neil, tell me if I'm right or wrong. From the Matrix? No, that's not from the Matrix. Is it from the Matrix? But not about hockey. Oh, is it the Matrix is all around us? Is that what it is? All right. Well, now I have to go look up the intro to Love Actually because I feel like there's a voiceover from Love Actually talking about that. Anyway, whatever. Because it's Hugh Grant's voice and he talks about 9/11 weirdly enough in a Christmas movie. Anyway, totally off track now. We're going to do royally bad takes because there was one. It's a video, which is the first time it's been a video, but I do want to talk about it. So here's royally bad takes. All right, and like I said, this one's a video, so I tried to cut it down so it's not too long, but here is tonight's royally bad take. It's a video out of Toronto, of all places.
Austin Matthews to the LA Kings is the play.
Okay. That's the move.
That's the move. Okay, they got Kopitar leaving, and they need somebody.
Need to stop.
And they kind of held out for, the watch on McDavid. And I think if McDavid was LA Kings' choice in a couple of years or, as early as next year to trade for him possibly, then Austin would fall right underneath that.
Wow. So, and that's the next question that I would ask, and a lot of Leaf fans would ask, would be, does he have the similar trade value that Quinn Hughes would?
If you can't get 4 pieces for Austin, you should get 3 quality ones for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. And I don't know what that means in terms of you need a center iceman back. I don't know if they give up Byfield, but it would be one of their top picks.
Yeah. So it
up
would
the
be
middle.
It would be.
I'd like to get a defenseman back
for sure. You would think that it would be a players that are playing now.
I think
as opposed to.
I'd like 2 players that could play now and a first round pick.
Okay.
The reason I picked that as a royally bad take is that if you are going to trade Quentin Byfield and a defenseman and a pick for Austin Matthews, what are we talking about? You need Austin Matthews and Quentin Byfield in order for that to be worth anything. If you trade Quentin Byfield for Austin Matthews, okay, maybe this season is better, but then next season, Andrei Kopitar still retires, and now your center depth is Austin Matthews, Alex Turcotte, and Sammy Helenius, and maybe Alex Laferriere. I don't know. And if you're talking about picks and defense, it's just it's crazy. It's crazy. It's nonsense. It doesn't make any sense for the Kings. On top of that, Austin Matthews has a no-move clause. Anybody that the Kings might want to trade to Toronto in order to get Austin Matthews probably has a no-trade clause. A no-move clause. Not even a no-trade clause. A no-move clause. It's bonkers. It doesn't make any sense. It's just crazy nonsense, and I need people to stop talking about it. Somebody asked about my take on Jim Hiller's post-game presser, and fortunately, Caleb Rappaport was kind enough to go down and film it for me. And so as soon as I can figure out how to do this, we're going to go ahead and play Jim Hiller, his post-game presser, and hopefully I've got it in the right order. Apologies if I don't. But here we go, question mark?
First question.
Who's up?
Jim, what was the most disappointing part of being down 3-0 halfway into the game?
Well, I think at that point, what was disappointing was us not having hit the back of the net because I thought we had some really good looks up until that point. It didn't feel like that was a game we should have been down 3-0. And I guess if you would have said it was 1-0, I would have been disappointed because for me, we had enough looks to certainly get the first one and get the lead.
78 shot attempts just on the rough math from the box score. When you hear that, what does that translate to on the ice, though, in terms of grades that you're seeing?
Well, we played in their zone. I think probably spent more time there than I can remember. So forecheck was good, physical, stole pucks. Give them credit. They had people in and around their net. The goalie played good, and we didn't. The 2 goals we scored were, I thought, pretty nice goals, and just didn't get the random goals that have been difficult for us to come by this year. We've had some other nights where we've thrown 70 or 80 at the net and come up short.
You mentioned before the game you were going to shuffle things around a little bit, Kuzi with Turk, etc. Anything in particular that you liked tonight throughout the game?
Well, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of things to like offensively about the game, and really, we didn't give them that much going the other way. So you like the fact that we generated. Kuzi, I thought, was maybe as best as he's been all year. I think from start to finish. I know he scored the goal, but you saw him handle the puck under the goal line, control it. So that was a really positive for us. I thought the physicality, in particular, Kempe, Byfield, and Laferriere, was a positive for us. But in the end, we don't win the game. So we're, that's the feeling we take with us.
Jim, how do you look at this break coming up? 3 days off, do you just try to have the players forget about what's going on and come back fresh? Do you think about this? Would you rather play tomorrow?
Well, I think the coaches and the management never spend a day not thinking about it. I hope the players are able to relax and refresh themselves. It's been from September till now, with the schedule and how busy it is, and 85% of our games we've been playing within 1 goal. It's taxing physically and mentally. So I'm sure those guys need a break.
Sorry, I muted myself, and I'm only interrupting here because I saw people asking for it. So I'm going to do it again because why not?
I see. Oh, it was no one's fault. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Well then, problem solved.
All right. There's the second half of the media availability, and here it is. Nope, that's the first half. Sorry, messed up. Got to make sure I get the right one. Here's the second half.
Production night in, night out. How close are you going to Kenny and saying maybe the we need more, that the players that can solve this aren't in the room right now?
No, that's not. That doesn't cross my mind. No, that's not my job. I mean, these are the players the coaches have. We coach them. You know what I mean? Kenny talks to us. It's been great communication. It's not something I would ever do.
Coach, after a stretch of games like you've had and the game tonight doesn't go your way, what are your parting words with the team before you go into this break?
I didn't talk to him tonight. I don't usually talk to him after a loss, and I don't know that they want to see me after a win too often. And after a loss, this is not a great feeling. So they self-reflect.
Sorry, I paused it because that's new information to me, and I find that wild. I don't talk to them after a loss. That seems I don't get that. I would love if somebody asked some follow up on that because Rivals says that's a lot of not talking to the team. I can't get the comment. There we go. That's a lot of not talking to the team. That is a lot. Not talking to the team after a loss. That's wild. All right, back to Jim.
We'll just give them that time on their own.
This sort of feels like a conversation that we had right before the Ducks game in Anaheim after Thanksgiving. Excuse me. How do you sort of make it just another game on Saturday when there's the importance of getting a win, there's the importance of where you are in the standings? How do you make it just another game?
Well, I mean, it is just another game, but we all know, there's probably more than just another game. It's going to be a great, lively building. They're ahead of us in the standings. We need to win. So there's all those things. I don't think you have to build it up much more than that. Those things are staring us right in the face. So, there's enough on the line.
Jim, when in doubt, the last couple of years, you guys have been able to hang your hat on your penalty kill. You give up another power play goal tonight. Just how do you fix what's going on with the PK?
Yeah, again, that's a part of the Christmas break. Those will be discussions. Like I said, we can't just clear our heads. There's always work to do. There's always discussions, and you're always thinking about what can we do differently, or sometimes it's not even different. It's just better. And so we have to make sure we have to understand, is it different or is it just doing it better?
How do you balance, being frustrated but also not trying to do too much to, try and get back into the swing of things?
It's a fine balance. You have to understand the effort and the job that it takes for those players to play.
He said the word, and that means.
Oh, I see. Oh, it was no one's fault. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Well then, problem solved.
At this level each and every night, and it requires a lot. So you have to make sure you respect the job and how difficult it is, and at the same time, you got to win hockey games. So, again, there's no right or wrong, or there's no secret formula. You got to try and walk that line as a coach.
Anything you can share with us with regards to Kemper when he might be available?
Getting better. I think I gave that last update, but with his type of injury, you just got to go slow, and things change constantly. So I don't think I want to put any timeline on it, but we're encouraged.
Thanks, Jim.
Doesn't want to put a timeline on it, but is encouraged. Listen, this is not a criticism of that. I don't know what's going on with Darcy Kemper. My assumption is that it's a concussion because he got hit in the head. He left the game. He never returned. And then every piece of rhetoric we've heard about when he's coming back is always, well, we don't know. We don't want to put a timeline on it. They said he's feeling better, not he's getting better, which feels very concussion-y to me. But I don't know. But now, Jonathan Davis says he's not the only coach that doesn't talk to the players after a loss. And perhaps that's true, John. And for anybody who doesn't know, I'm friends with John, so I appreciate you weighing in, John. And if Evan is in the car with you, hello, Evan. Or maybe you guys are home already. I don't know. It may be that Jim Hiller's. Oh, man. It may be that Jim Hiller's not the only coach that doesn't talk to his team after a loss. But just like the power play and just like a lot of things that many people have been saying about this team, perhaps it might be time to do things differently, because not talking to them after a loss doesn't seem to be having the impact that perhaps it did last year. I don't know. I've never been a hockey coach, so I don't know. Maybe not talking to your team after a loss is a good thing. Obviously, you can go the opposite way and talk to them too much. Everybody knows about Daryl Sutter being locked out. Well, maybe everybody doesn't know, but for those who don't know, at one point Daryl Sutter was barricaded from entering the Kings locker room by the Kings players. I think they put garbage cans in front of the door or something. Now, I think that story was made too big a deal of. I don't think it was nearly as big a deal. I think it was more funny than it was like, yeah, we've had it with this guy. But obviously, the pendulum can swing too far both ways. Anyway, I think we did good questions. We did royally bad takes. We did the Molson Index. I played the heck out of that clip, and I will probably continue to do so. But 4 in a row. That's tough. I will say this. The mood, the tone of the people who are around this team, who follow this team, has gone from mildly, like there were arguments earlier in the year. Does something need to happen? Is everything okay? Is everything not okay? Are you being negative? Are you being too positive? Blah, 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 blah. Then it shifted into like, oh, oh, is something happening? Like, whoa, this might not be good. Then the rumors started swirling that Jim Miller his job might be in jeopardy. Then Eric Stevens from The Athletic asked Jim about it. That was an awkward moment. Then, they had that game against Chicago that was really rough. Then they had the 6-0 win against Chicago the next night. Then they beat Utah, and then it started to feel like, oh, maybe. And then it's been what it's been. And I don't know. I'm going to go ahead and look up what the record is since those games, because I feel like they've only got one win since that Utah game, and maybe I'm wrong, but all right, schedule and results. Let's go ahead and look at it. They lost 1-2 to the Chicago Blackhawks. They beat the Blackhawks 6-0. They beat the Utah Mammoth 4-2. Then 2 back-to-back overtime losses against Seattle and Calgary. 4-1 loss to the Dallas Stars. 3-2 loss to the Florida Panthers. A 2-1 win against Tampa Bay Lightning. A 3-1 loss to Columbus, and now the 3-2 loss to the Kraken. So that's not great. And in the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 games, they're 3-8 or 3-6-2, maybe. I don't know. Not great. Not great. Not great. Not great, Bob. King of the week is David Cross. It's true. It is. It absolutely is. So I think I'm going to wrap it up. I appreciate the almost 1,200 of you that are hanging out here listening to me ramble off and trail off at the end of sentences, because I've sort of run out of things to say, because I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, I'm not even mad about this loss tonight. When they were, here's the crazy thing. When it was 3-0, was it 3-0? I thought it was 2-0, then 2-1, but maybe it was 3-0. When they were down by multiple goals early in the game, it was 3-0. Oh, that's right. It was 3-0 because that third goal, bonkers. Yeah, when it was 3-0, I was like flabbergasted, but not upset. I was like, oh man, wow. I can't, like, I couldn't believe it. That second goal and the third goal were so freakishly bad. I was like, oh my God, are we really about to watch them get blown the F out by this team after losing last? I was like, I couldn't believe it. Then they scored to make it 3-1. And I was a little annoyed. I was like, really? This is dumb. Like, just get your doors blown off properly. Like, don't make this interesting. But when then they scored 3-2, in spite of myself, my fandom kicked in, and I was like, oh, okay. Well, this game has actually been pretty interesting. The deserve to win meter, if I'm not mistaken, had this one pretty squarely in the Kings' favor, 61%. And the Kings outshot Seattle, and we saw the game flow and everything. Like, I was like, okay, if this is actually a game that the Kings win, I was actually, like I said, in spite of myself, my fandom took over, and I was like, okay, all right, yeah, here we go. Now we're talking. This is going to be interesting. They're going to score. They're still down 1, so maybe they have to send it to overtime, which would have been overtime again. It would have been the 15th time in 36 games or whatever it is. But they didn't. They just lost 3-2. It was like the least interesting outcome at 3-2. The least interesting possibility was that it would just end that way. Didn't go to overtime. There was no empty net goal. It wasn't 4-2. It was just like, just like, it was perfect. It was just perfect. It was just like, all right, whatever. Jesse, why is there a microphone for reporters sometimes and other times you can't hear the reporters at all on YouTube? It's very annoying. Excellent question, Caius. The answer is that when the post-game press conferences and pre-game press conferences are done at Crypto.com Arena, the building staff provides the service of holding microphones up to people's mouths, and that sound is fed into a soundboard, and that soundboard goes to the broadcast. And the reason you can hear it on my video is because I asked Caleb Rappaport to take this cable right here, which I purchased with my own money, which plugs into the soundboard and then plugs into your phone, so that when you record on your phone, it then takes the sound from the soundboard and puts the sound into the video that you took with your phone, so that it pulls the sound not only from the mic at the podium, but also the mics that the building staff are holding that feed into the soundboard. Because I wanted you to be able to hear the questions, and so I spent $8 on this cord or whatever it is, and I made sure that somebody stood there and recorded it so that you could hear it. The reason it doesn't always happen is because A, there's not always somebody available to hold the mics up to the media. Like, for example, when there is a press conference at the TSBC building, if it's in one of the conference rooms, sometimes there's a mic that gets passed around that is remotely connected to a soundboard. But if it's in like locker room 10, which is where most of the media availabilities with Jim Hiller are done, there's one microphone, and it's at the table in front of Jim Hiller, and there is no mic that mics the room that captures the questions from the media. So it has driven me crazy for years. I'm very glad that they finally addressed it, at least at the arena. I wish they would address it in locker room 10 because it would be a fairly simple fix, but whatever. Anyway, that's neither here nor there, but I saw the comment, so I thought I'd comment on it. And Mike asked me to keep going, so I'm going to keep going. All the best for you and your family for the holidays. I appreciate this way you provide. Well, thank you. Hey, cranberry pizza, for anybody who doesn't know the reference there. When I was a kid growing up, and I would stay with my dad, he one time randomly hadn't gone grocery shopping, or I remember what the story. I was in like 4th grade or something, but in sort of like very bachelor pad, single dad, divorced dad style, like didn't have a lot in the cupboards, didn't have like a lot of food, and so what we had was a Boboli crust, some shredded cheese, and for whatever reason, cranberry sauce, and maybe some sliced pepperoni for a reason. I don't know. Anyway, the point is we made a pizza, but there was no tomato paste. There was cranberry sauce. So he was like, well, let's see how this goes. And it turns out cranberry sauce, Boboli crust, cranberry sauce, melted cheese, and pepperoni is actually pretty good. It's not pizza, I'll grant you that, although I call it cranberry sauce pizza all the time. But it's more like a sort of dessert pizza. And whenever people turn their nose up and tell me I'm crazy and they say yuck and they make a big deal of like, ooh, gross, all I will say is if you ever go to a party and somebody offers you a watercress cracker with some fig jam and goat cheese on it, that's all you're eating. It's just the tanginess of the cranberry sauce mixed with the dairy, the sweetness of the dairy, and the creaminess of the dairy. It's good. It's good. So cranberry sauce pizza for everybody. Sorry, that was my defense of my 4th grade culinary palate. Almost feel sorry for Jim Hiller, but I just don't think he's the right coach to get his team going. Listen, I really liked John Stevens as a person. But when they fired John Stevens, it was perfectly clear at the time that he couldn't stop whatever was happening in that season. I don't think this season is nearly as bad as that season. I've said it time and time again. But if this season continues to get worse and there isn't anything stopping it, then I said it time and time again, it may not be somebody's fault, but there is such a thing as responsibility. So even if it's no one's fault.
Oh, I see. Oh, it was no one's fault. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Well, then, problem solved.
It is still somebody's responsibility. And that's how life works. Somebody said, is there practice tomorrow? That's a very good question. Let's go ahead and look at the practice schedule. It was not updated as of this morning, or maybe last night. I didn't look this morning, but let me just look real quick. Practice schedule does not appear to have been updated. That's tough. So I don't know if there's practice tomorrow. That's a very good question. Insert Jim Moore playoffs game. I don't have that one. Maybe I'll find the clip of it, but I don't have it ready to go. It's Christmas Eve. Excellent points early, Jacob, except that they always practice, even on days when you don't think they would. Like, there was a practice the morning of Thanksgiving. Sounds psychotic to me, but, Neil says that you think it's a mandatory day off for the whole league. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I don't know. I can guarantee you I ain't going to practice tomorrow morning. I've got a Christmas Eve party to go to. I'm not going. So, holiday break. Yeah, sure. All right. So no practice tomorrow, I guess, from the sounds of it. Which means no practice on Thursday, presumably. And then we'll see. So yes, especially when the practice isn't working. Sure. Before I go, I do want to just give me 2 seconds to double check my files, because there was something I wanted to get to the other day and I just never did, and I can't remember for the life of me what it was. And so let me just burn through. I played that. All right. Well, maybe I'll just forget it and I'll get to it next time. But I did want to say, just because, oops, I took away my own face. Just because it is that day, and I do find it interesting and funny, and I was a Seinfeld fan, and I found this. I did just want to say Happy Festivus, everybody, because it's it's December 23rd, which is when Festivus is, December 23rd. So happy Festivus, all. Yes, I did get Fiala and Kuzmenko. And the funny thing is, right before the game, for anybody who knows me or listens to me rant and rave privately, off air or whatever, I was obsessed with, like, why don't we ever see Fiala and Kuzmenko? What's going on with that? Why never Fiala and Kuzmenko? We never see Fiala and Kuzmenko. I was obsessed with it all day long. I thought I was very clever for having realized it this morning. And then I sat down next to Hovind at the game tonight, and I leaned over to him, and I was like, hey, can you answer me a question? How come we never see Fiala and Kuzmenko together? And he looked at me and he went, they're starting the game together. They're on the third line together. And I was like, what? No, they're not. And sure enough, they were. And they scored a goal. And if I'm not mistaken, they were halfway decent. Let me go ahead and look up the Kings forward line stats for this game. Boy, that thing is noisy down there. I'm sure you guys can't hear. But Turcotte, wow, natural stat trick is all kinds of broken tonight. So if I can't find it on natural stat trick, I'll have to go look at Money Puck. So let me go look at Money Puck here real quick, go down to the line combinations for the LA Kings, and we have Kuzmenko, Turcotte, and Fiala, 7 minutes and 44 seconds of ice time together at 5-on-5. 7:44, Kuzmenko, Turcotte, and Fiala, 32.2% expected goals, 60% Corsi, 50% Fenwick's. And actual goals, how many actual goals did they score? I feel like they scored 2. Well, I guess Fiala scored when Kopitar was on the ice. But on ice goals, 4. Kuzmenko, Turcotte, and Fiala, 1 goal for, 0 goals against. Meanwhile, Fogle, Byfield, and Moore, 2 goals against, 0 goals for. So not great there. So I don't know what's going on. I don't know how to judge which lines should be together, which lines shouldn't be. The whole thing is crazy. Don't know who Fiala. I think Fiala was on the ice with Kopitar and somebody else. I don't remember. Fiala and Kuzmenko, I'm an Asian guy. Well, listen, we've seen almost every other combination of wingers on this team this year, except for those two. So it's not that I even necessarily wanted those two. I just thought it was weird that we never had. And then as soon as I pointed it out, it's sort of like saying, oh, you know, you never see a yellow car on a Tuesday, and then you go out your door and it's like, oh, no, there's all yellow cars on a Tuesday. So as soon as you identify that you haven't seen something in a while, then you start to see it. Last year, Dallas Stars got in trouble for practicing during the Xmas break. Oh, well, there you go. Okay, I was wrong. Carl says his grievances have been aired. That's because it's Festivus, and Festivus obviously is the feats of strength, the airing of grievances. It's a Seinfeld joke for any of you who doesn't know, and if you don't know at this point, you are not nearly chronically online enough. All right. I got nothing anymore, other than, as always, to say thank you very much for joining, and I appreciate the comments. And sorry, Jacob says, at what point do you, not Royal you, Jesse Cohen, give up and make Byfield a winger again? I'd have done it 2 weeks ago. And they don't have any, the problem is you don't have any other center options. But I would have, before I traded Phil Deneau, I would have put Quentin Byfield back on a line with Kopitar and Kempe, and I would have made the second line Deneau, Moore, and Fogle, and I would have made the third, well, almost said too much. I'd have made some different moves for the third line and the fourth line. That's what I would have done were I in control. But I'm not in control. All I can do is sit here in the press box alone. I'm pretty sure I'm alone. Yeah, I'm alone. And yell into this microphone. So anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. And I will be doing this after the Ducks game. And I wish everybody a Merry Christmas. And yeah, that's about it for this one. Bye.
We do the best we can, but thanks for watching.
Happy Festivus.
At least it was the last one, because Christmas break is finally here.
I'll be back when it's over. Good, then we'll see you there. Downtown LA. Against who? The Ducks might even make the playoffs.
Well, why would you say something like that? Is it true?
Yes, it's true.
I think they're better than that. And I'm tired of pretending it's not.
Charlie Brown.